Hello, everybody. Happy New Year, January 1st, 2025. This is the year of make believe. That's what I'm dubbing it this year. And today we're going to be talking about the empowered black sheep. But I was just speaking with some of the participants. I found some black sheep stuffed animals on Amazon, and they're just adorable. One stands, one is like they're flying, right? Like the flying sheep, and the other one sits up and looks at you. So these are going to be my props for the day. Um, just a little bit of my childhood quirky humor coming out because you know what? Being a black sheep has not been fun my whole life. Being a black sheep, being called a black sheep, or internalizing this identity of being a black sheep has actually felt, well, really heavy. And so I've been thinking about this a lot lately, especially from coming back on the heels of my beautiful retreat that I spent in Costa Rica with my mentor and some other beautiful women. You know, what is my quirkiness? What is my weirdness? What is my unique gift to the world? And so this just started kind of percolating and morphing into what my big superpower is. And I think one of my big superpowers is this black sheep persona. And to begin with, we're going to go through kind of some of the negative stereotypes of what we think of as the black sheep. And then I'm going to flip it and talk about how the black sheep is actually the light bearer. And then we're going to go into the manifesto. Hopefully, you've downloaded it and you filled it out a little bit, but we're going to go through some of those prompts and see if you have anything to share or add. And then we're going to follow up and end it with a guided visualization with the archetype, the black sheep. So sit back, relax, grab your coffee or your tea. I have no idea how long this is going to last, so we're just going to get started. Um, so the term black sheep is often carried with a negative stereotype, right, in societal or family dynamics. It describes someone as maybe an outcast, a deviant, a troublemaker, different from the rest of the group, especially within the family. So here's a deeper look at some of those negative connotations that we already have in our heads. And I want to preface this with saying I was just on a conversation with a friend of mine who we were obviously talking about this black sheep stereotype. And she said that her sister is definitely in that camp. And I said, how did your family respond to her and stuff? And she said, well, it's not like we actually ever said it to her. You know, um, her husband had brought it up at a family gathering or something that so and so feels like she's the black sheep of the family. And my friend thought to herself, she's like, I've never actually called her that. I've never thought of her that way. But my friend is also a beautiful healer in the world. And so she sees the light in everybody. So she would never even begin to start going down that negative stereotype path. But what happens in a family dynamic, and I can say this from my own perspective because it is me, is that even if no one says it, because of the behaviors and the responses that we get from people because of our sensitivity, because of our different views, we internalize this, make it so that we're different, which i.e. means that we're bad and we don't fit in, we don't belong. And so when we go through this, I'm going to add some personal anecdotes and things to kind of break that stereotype of it. So the first one that we come across is nonconformity is a flaw, as the black sheep is typically seen as someone who doesn't fit societal or family norms. It can be interpreted as a lack of discipline, rebelliousness, or failure to adhere to traditions. So this nonconformity is often judged negatively instead of being celebrated as individuality, right? It can be, these are my two top ones that I've experienced in my life. They can be a source of shame and blame. Because in family contexts, the black sheep can be viewed as a source of embarrassment or shame. Their actions, choices, or beliefs may not align with the family's values or expectations, leading to gossip and ostracism, whatever that word is, being kicked out of the clan, right? Um, and that is totally how I was raised, how I was brought up. If any of you who are watching this replay are feeling a connection to that, I'd love to have a comment or two. So, but this can be a big source of our shame in our life, is that because we are different, because our actions and our choices have possibly caused our family to be embarrassed. And there's several situations and experiences in my life that have definitely caused that to happen. And so as young adults, young kids, we internalize that. Then, of course, the best friend of shame is blame. And black sheep are frequently scapegoated. They might be blamed for family situations and issues, even when it's not their fault, simply because they're being seen as different or the troublemaking one. And a little side note here, in my family, discipline was very rigid, so much so that if one of the four kids misbehaved, we all got it. And so even if I had nothing to do with it, if I was in another room, if I was in another country at the time, right, we all still got the same discipline. And so that kind of instilled this idea that you can be blamed for something even if it's not your fault. And then we internalize that again. And that can all be viewed as being a failure. So society often equates success with conformity. A black sheep who forges their own path may be labeled as unsuccessful or aimless if their achievements don't align with conventional metrics of success. So take a minute and try to think of maybe one or two people in the world who have used their black sheepness to break the norms and to be a success. And the first one that comes to my mind is Steve Jobs, right? Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. I mean, we would have a completely different technology landscape if they hadn't have stepped forward and done what they did. Steve Jobs constantly talks about being led with the misfits and the rebels and the creatives and the people who see things differently, the square pegs and the round holes, he likes to call them. These are the black sheep, and we are important, and we're here, and we're not going away. Misunderstood intentions. If I've been misunderstood once in my life, I've been misunderstood 1,000 times. And it used to be a very personal issue for me. I used to take it very personal. And I don't take it personal anymore because I know myself better. And I know that people can only understand me from their level of understanding, basically. So the black sheep's choices or lifestyle may be misunderstood or misinterpreted as selfish, rebellious, or even disrespectful, even if they're driven by authenticity, creativity, and a desire to break harmful cycles. So this is such a catch-22, right? And I think, I know when I was young, I wouldn't really call myself the black sheep. I just knew I was different. And then, of course, when I got older, I realized that there was a name for what I was experiencing and that there are a lot more of us out there than we like to admit. So if this is resonating with you, I'm glad that you're here. I do want to say that it is worth noting that the black sheep stereotype is often as it is seen negatively, this label, we're going to start to reclaim this as a badge of honor, because many black sheep are trailblazers, they're creatives, they're healers, breaking away from limiting traditions and redefining what it means to live authentically. How amazing is that? We get to literally turn our black sheepness into our superpower. I think that is one of the most amazing things. So the biggest part, which has rippled through my life as an adult, claiming this identity of being a black sheep, is victimization. Victimization is a significant aspect of this stereotype, especially when it involves scapegoating or being unfairly treated due to being perceived as different. And so here's how the victimization manifests in us. The black sheep is often blamed for problems within a family or group, whether or not they're even responsible. The scapegoating can serve as a way for others to avoid their own accountability by projecting their issues onto the one who can take it. And why do you think it's called the black sheep? Because black absorbs, right? It absorbs heat, it absorbs negativity. I mean, Johnny Cash, all about Man in Black, right? And he was saying that he is going to wear black until no one is mistreated anymore. He's going to wear black for all the people, all the underprivileged, all the injustices in the world. He wanted to absorb that. So I think it's very fitting for a lot of us healers and people in this arena that we wear black kind of on automatic, because I think subconsciously we want to take away the pain of the world, which in a lot of cases we really do. There's emotional and psychological abuse that happens with this victimization, because if they're subjected to criticism, ridicule, and passive aggressive comments that undermine their self-worth and their self-esteem, this emotional mistreatment can lead to feelings of unworthiness or self-doubt. And I'm going to throw this in there for good measure. In my personal experience, I have attracted partners who do this to me, because this is something that I was not aware of that was happening. It was this energy that I was exuding of being the scapegoat, of being codependent, of being gaslit. And when your relationships start mirroring back to you what you don't like to see, that's when we get to take a look at ourselves, right? Because I actually got to see this firsthand in my previous marriage. So gaslighting occurs when the black sheep's experiences or perceptions are invalidated, leaving them to question their own reality. I spent 9.5 years married, and I probably think that 8.5 of those years, I was completely questioning my reality. I had no idea what I had just done. Everything that I tried to do was invalidated, especially when it came to personal disagreements, either views of the world or our situation at that current time. And when you're invalidated, it is one of the worst feelings ever. You're completely invisible. You feel like you don't matter. And so I'm just making this connection for anybody who might be feeling this or might have felt this before. It's not in your imagination. These are things that are real for our experience. The other part of this gaslighting is that others insist that the black sheep is ding, 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 too sensitive, or making things up, dismissing their feelings. I am very sensitive. I am not too sensitive. I am just as sensitive as I need to be. I am perfectly sensitive. But I heard that my whole life. You're just too sensitive. You're just too sensitive. And when you make things up to dismiss your own feelings, we're just creating our own little whirlpool of lies that we get to live with, right? And how awful is that? So the other thing that happens is social isolation with this victimization part of being a black sheep, because we're often excluded from family gatherings, conversations, or decision making. I've been excluded from every single one of those in the last couple of years. And this basically is marginalization that reinforces an outsider status and deprives us of support and belonging that the others actually receive. So you're not crazy. You're not making it up. This is a real phenomena that happens. And fortunately, we get to grow up and be adults and realize that, yes, we are the black sheep. And yes, I'm kind of happy about it. So the last part on the victimhood that I want to talk about is because I play the victim a lot. I can go into stories about my company success or not success. I can go into it with my relationships, but ultimately it's about me taking ownership and responsibility for the situation, right? I declare that in 2025, I am not playing the victim anymore. And so this is also why I'm bringing this to light for anyone else who tells themselves these stories to help get us out of them. Because over time, the black sheep will internalize this label, seeing them as inherently flawed and incapable of belonging. And at the core of who we are, we want to belong. We want to feel like we belong. So, this self perception, no one else is to blame for it. It's a self perception that perpetuates the cycle of victimization and hinders our ability to thrive. And so, my final word on this is you don't fit in, but you do belong. And that is a really powerful statement. You don't fit in, but you do belong. Because the source of everything is everything. And we are always in alignment with it, even when we're not. We always have this connection to it, even when we don't perceive it. And so part of our role, our what we get to do is to come back into that alignment, come back into feeling that we are connected, because we are connected. And when we feel that connection to the divine, to whatever you call your spiritual connection, we belong. We belong when we're alone. We belong when we're in a group. We simply belong because we exist. So don't dim. Don't dim your light. Don't dim your differences to fit in, because you weren't born to fit in. Black sheep were born to stand out. So moving along, we're going to talk a little bit about healing from this whole victimization, because I think that is, well, really the crux of this. Most of what I've just said, you probably already know, you probably already experienced. And so healing from any kind of victimization, but specifically this black sheep cloud, is to be aware and recognize the patterns, because the awareness of the victimization can help us break free from these harmful cycles. And that's stage one. So if this is all new to you, just be aware of any of these things that I've talked about, of what doesn't resonate with you in family groups, in community groups, in your friends groups. Maybe you need to change everything up. You need to find a whole new group of friends, or just get really clear that you're totally okay, and then move into that family dynamic knowing that you're totally okay, because you don't need anyone's opinions to justify or validate you. All you need is yours. And when we're connected, we don't even have to search for it. It's just this feeling of knowing, right? It's this unseen faith. Setting boundaries. This is a really good one. Clear boundaries protect against continued mistreatment. So if you're not in that space of being strong enough yet to recognize the patterns and yet still go towards that fire, then we need to set clear boundaries. Maybe you don't go to these things, you don't speak to these people, for no other reason other than for your own peace of mind. Seeking support from a coach like myself, or therapy, your chosen family, or supportive communities that can provide the validation and care about the black sheep that they may not find in their original group. But I highly recommend that you start having the conversation with yourself. If this is something that has been gnawing at you for a while, or you just haven't been able to find the right terminology for it, this is a good place to sit in it. And in a few minutes, we'll get into a guided visualization, and maybe that can bring a little more clarity for you. And then we get into the reclaiming of our identity. all of those negative things you heard me say, we don't have to buy into that and believe them. They may have felt true. You may have experienced things like that. Absolutely. And what I have next is our way of reframing it. So transforming this label into the symbol of individuality, of resilience and authenticity. And that just empowers the Black sheep to thrive despite the victimization. Because we have to admit that it's been happening. We have to acknowledge it and be aware of it and see it for what it is, and then kiss it goodbye. We don't need it anymore. So here are, I'm not even really following the time yet. We got plenty of time. Okay. So one of the things I have been doing some research on so that I get the language correct, right, is going through what the core traits of what it means to be an empowered Black sheep. So this is going to be the complete opposite of the beginning of this. We're going to talk about the gifts and the new language that we can use around the Black sheep. Core traits of that empowered Black sheep. I don't have names for them yet. Maybe next video I'll have names for them. We are independent thinkers who question the status quo. We are sensitive, we are intuitive, and we are deeply creative. And we're often labeled as too much or not enough in family and traditional systems. We have a rebellious streak, but we seek balance and peace within ourselves. And most of us, if not all of us, feel misunderstood, out of place, and undervalued. We carry shame and self-doubt from trying to conform. And trying to conform is so exhausting, so exhausting. Struggling to translate our uniqueness into confidence, clarity, and action because we've lived so long under the belief system, the stories that we've told ourselves, that we are the Black sheep, and that's just how it is. And we deeply long for connection without losing our individuality. And this is where my personal story of codependence has reshaped everything that I've ever known about relationships with people and relationships with myself. So some of the desires and aspirations of that empowered Black sheep moving forward is to reclaim our authentic voice and power, to transform our struggles into strength and purpose, and to create a life that feels aligned and joyful and absolutely fulfilling and satisfying. We also have a deep desire to feel seen, to be celebrated, and to be supported for who we truly are. And if no one has done that for you today or this year, well, it's only one day into the year, so hopefully we're on a good track here. I celebrate you, and I see you, and I value you because I am you. And then what we value as our empowered Black sheep, we value depth and honesty and truth and authenticity. We value a safe place to explore and evolve without judgment, without our own judgments. And we value creative and spiritual approaches that honor our individuality. So I'm going to skip the part where I talk about my specific story because I want to get into the role of the Black sheep as the light bearer. I came up with this phrase not too long ago as I was going through my own meanderings of the norm of what the Black sheep really is. But the role of the Black sheep as a light bearer, I think this is so fascinating. This is completely flipping the negative stereotype on its ear. So we actually eliminate hidden truth. By refusing to follow the status quo, Black sheep often uncover truths and perspectives that others are too entrenched in tradition to see. We shine a light on what's possible beyond outdated beliefs and systems. And when I was going through this question my mentor gave me a while ago of what makes you weird, what makes you unique, one of the things that really popped up was I have always been able to see the potential in people, in places, in buildings, in situations. I am an idea generator when it comes to the human design and the gene codes. And I generate ideas like water. It's absolutely insane. So being the black sheep as a light bearer, this is one of our gifts. We get to illuminate the hidden truths of the world, of society, of ourselves, mainly of ourselves, because we can't do the other two unless we're willing to do the illuminating of our own shadows and darkness, right? And we challenge the norms. The light bearer challenges the norms. We have a willingness to question, challenge, and redefine what's normal. And this inspires others to rethink their own limitations and conditioning. And how exciting is that? Just by being the black sheep, you can actually inspire someone to rethink their own limitations. They break free from patterns that no longer serve, creating space for growth and evolution. And this is always, all healing is this ongoing process, right? So the minute we think that we've rethought our limitations and conditioning and rewritten them, pretty soon, right around the corner, another one's going to pop up. So this work is continual, this is ongoing, and it's as consistent as change itself. So be open to evaluating and reevaluating and relearning and unlearning and learning again and becoming and unbecoming all the time. And one of the cool things too is that the black sheep as light bearer is actually here to help heal generational patterns. We often carry the awareness needed to heal ancestral wounds. And by walking our own path, we model liberation and authenticity, encouraging others to do the same. So we can see patterns from our parents, from our grandparents, and as far back as you want to go. Anything that was troubling in your childhood was probably just a reflection of something that was troubling in your parents' own life, and beyond and beyond and beyond. And so this really gives us a chance to, we get to be the healers of our own life. And one of the things that I didn't expect to find was one of the ways the black sheep provides this light bearer role is seeing the potential in all things. And I didn't make this up. This actually was something that I found. So I think that this is very in alignment with the uncovering of what I feel is one of my biggest gifts, my biggest unique traits is seeing the potential. We are visionaries. We have the ability to perceive potential in situations, people, and ideas where others might see failure or risk. This perspective often stems from our own experiences being misunderstood, allowing us to recognize hidden gifts, to create alchemization in where we need, and to inspire innovation. So if you're not feeling better about being a black sheep right now, I have more for you. This is a sacred role in the collective. Being the black sheep is a sacred role because we aren't just outsiders. We're often the soul of a group, family, or a community. Our courage to stand apart can become a beacon for others to reclaim their own authenticity. They carry a divine gift, reminding us that every challenge holds the seed of transformation, that every individual has untapped potential waiting to be realized, and that every moment, no matter how dark, contains the light of possibility. How amazing is that? This is the sacred role in the collective. This is what we get to do. This is why we're here. So I'm going to make sure that this sound is off because it's bothersome to me in a moment here. Okay. I'm going to grab myself a little drink. And we're going to get moving on to the manifesto. Hopefully, by now, if you're watching this, you have been able to find this PDF and either print it out or at least be able to answer some of the questions in it. So a lot of what I've just discussed is on this front page. So I'm just going to read it out real quick in little bits here. So welcome to the world of Black Sheep rule breakers and dream makers. This manifesto is your invitation to embrace your uniqueness, to let go of old stories and step boldly into the year of make-believe, which is right now, 2025. Let's begin. So breaking the rules and smashing the stereotypes are what 2025 is all about. I'd like to offer you the following phrases that the Black sheep of the family has evolved with, and in many contexts, it's reclaimed as a symbol of individuality, strength, and authenticity. And these are the ways that it can be empowering. It's a celebration of uniqueness, breaking cycles, resilience and courage, creativity and innovation, inspiring others. So I have the section 1 was claim your Black sheep identity. What does being a Black sheep mean to you? And for those that are here with me now, I won't bring you on camera at all, but if you wanted to type in any of this, go ahead and do so as we go through this. So my question to the collective is, what does being a Black sheep mean to you? Write your definition below. If it's any different from what I've said, I would love to understand that. So, and then the activity that I gave you was a short affirmation writing exercise. I am a Black sheep because and I don't know if it's an affirmation per se, but I'm a Black sheep because this is how I was born. I was born to be different. I was born to stand out. I was born to cultivate an awareness for the way that I show up in the world so that others can show up more authentically in their world too, right? So a Black sheep meant to me was all the things I just read about. It meant being the outsider. It meant not belonging. It means being alone. It meant being different, and different was always considered bad. So we have, yes, short affirmation. I am a Black sheep because I'm following my own path, owning it, and not making excuses about it or trying to explain it in a language that sounds more conforming. Yeah, because we all have our own language, right? And the more we can embrace that and start to use our own language, that's what makes us all so beautiful and unique. Thank you for posting that. Okay, so moving on to section 2, the rules you're breaking. As a Black sheep, you weren't meant to follow the outdated rules. This is the year to create your own. So what rule will you break this year? Write 2 or 3 rules that no longer serve you and rewrite them into empowering declarations. One of the things that like I said earlier, rules I'm going to break this year, I am breaking my fallback, easy go-to victimization. I am declaring right here, right now, in front of all of you, that I am going to recognize it before it starts, and I'm going to reframe it immediately so that I don't fall victim to my own victimization. because this can be this game that we play with ourselves. We can start rewriting rules every single moment that something comes up for us that we recognize as an old pattern, that we know we don't want it anymore. And then we can get to create our own rule. So my rule is, if I find myself falling into it, I'm going to do everything in my power to get myself out of it quicker and with more ease and grace than ever before. There used to be a time where I would spend days, weeks playing around in the poop, right, of victimization. I would just wallow in it. I would swim in it. I would eat it for breakfast. I would eat it for lunch. I would eat it for dinner because that was the only way that I could get attention. But when I realized that it was the wrong attention that I was actually getting, it wasn't serving me anymore. So you find a different way of doing it. And so if you want to type in, one of the examples I wrote here was, I will stop seeking approval. Instead, I will own my truth unapologetically. So if there's anyone, want to write down one rule that no longer serves you and rewrite them into an empowering declaration. And you can do this with anything. It doesn't necessarily even have to be about this black sheep identity. It can be about anything in your life. What are you no longer willing to put up with, deal with, tolerate? Ooh, that's a really good one. Thank you for posting that. I will stop doing things out of duty. That's a big one. That's a big one. Yeah. Yeah, because there's always going to be that next thing that we feel responsible for, obligated to, because it's been in our system. It's been in our, just the way that we do things all the time. And when you realize that, A, it doesn't make me happy, B, it's not making a difference anyway, probably, and that it's not mine. It's one of the most powerful things that we get to explore and get rid of, things that aren't ours. So even people's projections of us, because as empaths, as the black sheep is definitely an empath, we absorb when we're not safely protected by our own boundaries. We can absorb what others are putting onto us, and that can be seen as a duty. Well, and even the whole Christmas thing, right? The buying the gifts, we have a duty to buy gifts for everyone that's given us a gift. In polite culture, in etiquette, right? I guess that's how the world works. But is it true that because you've given me a gift, I now owe you? I don't think that that's how it's supposed to work. I know it's not how it's supposed to work because that's what resonates with me. So that's my truth. So thank you for posting that. That's a really good one, actually. Section 3 in your manifesto is the year of make believe. So imagine this is your most magical year yet. What do you want to create, experience, or embody? And then you can, there's a section here where you can include a vision for your whole year. So maybe what is one thing that you want to create, experience, and embody? Coming out of this trip that I just took with amazing people and to a magical place, I want to experience more travel. I want to experience going to someplace that I've never been before. And I don't want to spend a whole lot of time planning it. I just want to buy the ticket and I want to go. So any of you living out there in Vancouver, Canada, I may be coming to see you. I would like to hike the Dolomites in Italy. Ooh, that sounds exciting. Yes, 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 yes. I love that. And so now we get to dream of what the next step might be, right? Maybe it's typing in Google Chat, Dolomites in Italy. How do I get there? Yes. And who knows? Maybe I'll go with you. I know my biggest thing, as some of my listeners know, is the south of France. So maybe Vancouver will be next year. Maybe I'll go to the south of France this summer instead. Doesn't matter what it is. The bigger, the better. The more riskier, the better. Because when we start to put that out into the universe conspires to make it happen with us. Like it gets excited when we get excited about these new things. So put the dream out there, write down your magical plan for 2025, and then just let it go. Maybe burn it even. You don't even need to keep it, hang on to it. Let the universe take it. You've already expressed your wishes, and now you get to go about your life, reinvent yourself, and see what magic shows up. Section 4, we are on to the affirmations of the Black Sheep Soul. I am here to create, not conform. My dreams are valid. My voice is powerful. My path is sacred. I honor my magic, my shadow, and my light. What was the one that was really powerful for me? Was the sacredness to the collective. I think that's one of the things that I want to rewrite into an affirmation. So the role of the black sheep as the light bearer. A sacred role in the collective. Yes. I'm going to write down for mine is that I am a sacred role in the collective. So if there's any affirmations that you have that you'd like me to read out loud, I will do that. And this is a good time of year to just start reciting these affirmations for yourself, right? The best time to do it is going to be first thing in the morning, because that's when our energy is fresh. We're not bombarded with all of the to-dos and the shoulds of our day, or last thing at night before you go to bed. So that's something that you can dream about. Yay, I honor my desire to release my responsible mask. Yes, black sheep don't wear masks. We just fly through it, right? I honor my desire to release my responsible mask. Mm-hmm. Yes, 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 yes. And I see that happening for you. I see that happening for you. Absolutely. So the next step, this manifesto, right? This is a compass for your year ahead. You can keep it close and revisit it, or you can throw it to the fire and let the universe take it over. But if you have watched this, we have one thing left to do. We're actually going to do a 7 or 8 minute guided visualization before we end. Okay. So I'm going to ask you, wherever you are, if you are in a safe place, if you're not driving while listening to this, I invite you to get comfortable, sit back, and maybe close your eyes, gently close your eyes, and just start by taking a few long, deep breaths. You can lie down if you want. Make sure that you feel supported. And just allow some softening to happen in the body. Maybe wiggle the toes, twist the ankles a little bit, feeling your feet on the ground, rolling the neck side to side, releasing any of the tension in the body. Continuing to breathe deep from the belly. And envision roots extending out of the base of your spine and through the bottoms of your feet, reaching down deep into Mother Earth, grounding you, holding you. And allow the breath to deepen your sense of safety, your sense of stability in your own body. With each inhale, I want you to draw up the earth's energy, filling your body with that stability, with that safety. And with each exhale, release anything that is unnecessary for this moment, for 2025. Maybe see a word flash in front of your face and let it go, let it expire, let it blow up like a balloon. Any self-doubt, any fear, any judgment you might have. You can also let it flow down through your feet and be transformed by Mother Earth. Whatever feels best for you. And I'd like you to picture yourself standing in an open field under a vast star-filled sky. The air is crisp and the stars twinkle with a soft, inviting glow. This is the field of magic, a place where all possibilities and all potentials exist, where the ordinary becomes extraordinary. Feeling a nice, long, deep breath in and a deep breath out. In the center of this field, you're going to see a small glowing fire. This is a sacred flame that represents your true essence, wild, untamed, and powerful. And this fire has no smoke. Walk slowly toward that fire, feeling the warmth and radiance. As you approach, notice the flames dance in colors that you've never seen before, reflecting the uniqueness of your own spirit. And next to the fire, you notice a figure, a beautiful, majestic black sheep. Its coat shimmers like the night sky, and its eyes hold the wisdom of lifetimes. This is the black sheep archetype, the embodiment of your individuality, your courage, your creativity, and your magic. The black sheep steps forward and bows its head gently, inviting you to connect with it. You reach out and place your hand on its soft coat, and instantly you feel a wave of recognition. This archetype is not separate from you, it is you. The parts of you that were misunderstood, the dreams that felt too big, the quiet strength that carried you through. It's all here. The black sheep speaks to you, not in words, but in feelings, images, and knowing. It has a message for you, something that you need to hear in this moment to reclaim your power. Take a moment and receive this message now. The black sheep nods, and the fire grows brighter, illuminating the entire field. The sheep steps aside, inviting you to step into the light of the sacred flame. As you do, you feel layers of shame, of fear, responsibility, and judgment melting away. You are left with only your brilliance, your authenticity, your true self. The flame doesn't burn you, it ignites your inner light. And imagine this light filling your entire being, expanding outward into the field, touching the stars and radiating out into the world. This is your magic. This is who you are. Take a moment to bask in this light, feeling the power of your authenticity, of your courage, of your love, knowing that this light is always within you, ready to guide you, ready to shine. And take a nice deep breath in. And a nice deep breath out. As this visualization comes to a close, the black sheep comes forward once more, offering you one final gift. It might be a symbol, a word, or simply a feeling. Accept this gift, knowing that it will serve as a reminder of your power and truth. In deep gratitude, we bow our head to that sheep and we accept our gift with gratitude. And when you're ready, begin to step back from that sacred flame, carrying your light and your gift with you. As the field begins to fade, you find yourself returning to this present moment. And with a hand on your lower belly and a hand on your heart, take another deep breath, feeling the body breathe. And wiggling your toes. And gently, gently, ever so gently, allowing the eyes to open. Thank you for taking that moment with me. Um, I'd love it if you could reflect on this journey. Either write down in your manifesto, what did the black sheep show you? How do you feel in this moment? This new empowered archetype is always within you, guiding you to live boldly and authentically and joyfully. So thank yourself for taking this time to reconnect to your own truth. If you want to share your experience, you can journal about it and then you can share it with me right now if you'd like. And you can unmute yourself if you want to talk about it. What message or gift did the black sheep, the new empowered black sheep, give you? And how can you bring this light into your life moving forward?
that was really beautiful.
Oh, good.
It really was. Um, I had a sense of the word exceptional, that you've always been exceptional. Um, and I have this plot. It's plastic. It's like a spiny, kind of a spiny type of flower, but it is a bit of a lotus-like flower.
Mhm.
Um, that sits in this little jar that my cat's been attacking, but it, I don't know why, because I've had it for a long time. But it was like that, but it was all like glowing. It's
Mm.
like a glowing, not like, it is sort of a bit of that lotus-like
Hmm.
shape.
Hmm. The opening, the exceptional.
Yeah, like the very much, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Love that. Yes. Do you have any idea how you might bring that to your world?
Hmm. I I have to open myself up to just to possibility in a way that I haven't been doing. It,
Mm.
um, I think it's an open-mindedness maybe, or just a re-envisioning of what my world, like, take away the should look like, and just open to being. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that feels really yummy, doesn't it?
it does. It does. It
I love
definitely
that. An exceptional opening. Yeah, opening. And um, then we can start to see things for the magic that they really are, as opposed to
that expansion, you know. Yeah, yeah.
beautiful. I can't wait to see how that plays out in your life moving forward.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with me. Um, and that's going to bring us to the end of our time together. Um, if you want to hang out a minute when I close the recording, we can have a little chat to say our goodbyes. But for all of you who have lovingly seen this replay and done some of the work, I'd love to hear how this went for you. So drop me a note, send me an email, connect with me if you're in the field of possibilities and you need a shepherd or a coach to get that black sheep to its empowered state of being. I would love to have a conversation with you. You can find me at daniaanastasia.com and email me at daniag at gmail.com. It'll be in the show notes as well. So take care, and I hope you have a fabulous start to your 2025, the year of make believe.